a dynamic and supportive business community in Northeast Ohio. We're committed to connecting local professionals, fostering valuable relationships, and providing opportunities for growth and success. Through networking, collaboration, and education, we aim to empower businesses and contribute to the economic vitality of our region. We meet here in Sheffield Village on the second and fourth Tuesday of the month, and you can find out more information at bbbng.org. Stands for Buckeye Business Builders Networking Group.org. And that website is bbbng.org. And my name is Kent Eiler with Eiler Networking and Computing, and we're moderating this event today. But man of the hour is our presenter today, Stacey with KLT Insurance. So as an independent agent, Al has many resources to help find the right fit for his clients by determining the most effective way to protect them. Now his time at KLT, he has found great solutions for his clients' needs at a reasonable cost. KLT stands for Know, Like, and Trust, and we lean on that value. We want you to know on your worst day, we will help you through it. We'll be covering the changes of the insurance industry today, and look to what it looks like for this year and moving forward. So without any further ado, Al, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Kent. Appreciate the introduction. Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to go through a few things today. Like you said, we'll be talking about change within the industry and how it looks moving forward. I know everybody has been looking at their insurance rates. They continue to go up, and there's a good reason for that, for them to continue to go up. First of all, I'd like to educate you a little bit about the industry and what you're really looking for and how to move forward in it. We are, most people, you call somebody, you say, hey, I need home insurance, I need auto insurance, and they say, hey, this is the best thing for you. Not always the case. Just because the simple fact is that, there's a big difference between independent insurance agents and captive insurance agents. Captive insurance agents only have one avenue to write you in. So if you're with a State Farm or Allstate or Farmers, anything like that, don't like to throw out names, but those are who they are. That would be the only carrier that they would have access to be able to write you with. At that point in time, if your insurance goes up, there's not much they can do to help you out with it, except to change your coverages. Well, does that benefit you? Probably not, because usually you have to eliminate coverages to be able to change the pricing on your insurance policy. So that's why we like to deal in the independent world, which I am an independent agent and KLT is independent broker within the industry. We have access to 19, I'll take that back, 18 now, different companies that we can then write you with. So if there's a company that won't write you, hopefully we'll find one that will write you. Not saying that the price is going to be cheaper all the time, because if somebody else won't write you and somebody else will, there's a reason why they're doing that. It may probably would be a higher deductible at that point in time, or you have claims on your report. There's an insurance report like there is of anything else. Like there's an insurance score, just like there's a credit score. Same thing. How many times have you filed a claim? How often you file a claim? How big have your claims been? Those all go into factors. Your pay history, your credit score. That all goes into play on how much you pay for your insurance. There's all kind of factors. They have all kind of algorithms that they call them to calculate what it comes out on your end. So those are some of the things we like to go over independent wise. It's always good to look for an independent person that can help you out by shopping you around with several different companies would be a big thing. Moving forward in this industry that we're dealing in right now, the biggest part of this is obviously inflation. Inflation is the huge part of your insurance going up, how much it costs to fix your vehicle when you do file a claim, how much it costs to fix your home, to get building materials and things of that sort when you do have a home claim. So because those materials have gone up, obviously then the price on the insurance claim has gone up, which then pushes up the claim or your premium at that point in time. Other things are natural disasters, which we're having way more of now than we ever have. When we're talking about, floods, we're talking about hurricanes, we're talking about forest fires, all those, we're talking about all those things where you see more and more every year. Like California seems like it's always on fire now. Well, that affects us here in Ohio. Florida, very hard to insure anything in Florida. But because those disasters are being paid out and those excuse me, and those hurricanes, that affects your premium. The more they pay out, the more our premium is going to go up. So you guys keep asking us, why does my premium keep going up? Watch the news. How many times have you seen a car ran through a building? That's a huge claim on both ends, on the auto claim and on the business claim, because now that business is out of business for who knows how long. So they have to file the claim to be able to generate enough revenue to stay in business. The auto person has to then file a claim to take care of everything that he has now destroyed. Huge claim. You see this all the time. And a big issue is that a lot of people are not paying attention in vehicles. Obviously, they're looking at their phone or something that they're distracted by something else. Has been a big deal. That's why you have a lot of companies going to these apps that they put you on to monitor your driving. They'll give you a discount for it, but they'll put you on an app. They'll monitor whether you hard brake, speed up, slow down, any of that type thing. And they'll give you a discount to be on it. And if you're a good driver, like in Progressive state, if you're a good driver, your rate could come down. If you're not, your rate could go up. So that's kind of where we're at in this world. Another big risk that's bringing up the price is cyber risk. Kent deals with this on a regular. Yes.
Real quick, were you going to share your presentation as you're going through these?
Yes. I'm just stating a couple things, and I'll get to that presentation of some of those things there. Correct.
Perfect.
Cyber risk is a huge thing, something that Kent deals with on a regular basis. That's another thing that is starting to bring up the industry and cost, because there's a lot of people losing their identity theft. That's a huge thing now. We're starting to add that to home policies now, because a lot of companies will give you $25,000 or $50,000 for pretty cheap to get your identity back and to pay for it and go through the whole process. So that's a huge thing too. So those are some of the things that are pushing up this industry. Now we'll educate you a little bit about what you should be looking for when you do shop for your insurance. So let's share the screen now, Kent. Let's see if I can figure this out again, Kent.
Yep, just share the screen. Down below, you should be able to share the whole thing. I'll let you know when we can see it. There we go.
All right. You can see it. And there we go. Are we good now?
We're not seeing the PowerPoint yet.
I did this last time too, Kent, didn't it?
The first time, yeah.
First time. Let's try this again.
Did you share the app? Okay.
Yeah, I'll stop sharing again and jump over and technical difficulties. That's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I'm looking for. Yeah, I did the same thing.
So we can see the browser through there.
All right, so you can see it
bring
now?
up PowerPoint?
Okay.
Well, we can only see the browser. We're not seeing the PowerPoint.
What about now?
Nope. It's almost like you shared the application instead of the whole screen.
When you go to share, is it giving you more than one window to pick? Like, I feel like sometimes that presenter, like,
yeah. All right, entire screen. That's what I did.
First, like the presentation.
All right, let's do this now. How about now, Kent?
There we go. We got it.
There we go. Okay, sorry about the difficulty there. We got it figured out. First of all, once again, Kent did introduce me. This is KLT Insurance page. You can see the QR code down there. If you scan that, it'll take you straight to our website. We deal and we like to deal in home insurance. We like to drag around the auto insurance with it. Obviously, you get a 15 to 20% discount if you do bundle home and auto together. But you know, your biggest asset right now is usually for most people is your home. So we need to definitely insure that the proper way to begin with. So I will show the screen, this slide at the end of the presentation, so you can grab this information once again. But a little bit about home insurance, on how and what you need for home insurance. Obviously, we have this couple here dreaming of homeownership, and a lot of people are doing that. A lot of people are trying to, like us older people, maybe looking to downsize, which Downsize nowadays doesn't always mean you're going to downsize your payment. Just means you're going to downsize your property. But what are you looking for in homeowners insurance? There's all these coverages. There's 5 major coverages to a homeowner's policy. Reconstruction costs. How much is it going to cost you to rebuild your house? You get a total loss. How much would it cost you to build your house? Everything from that work. Every other coverage works off of that coverage. Other structures. That's usually either 10% or 20% of your reconstruction cost. That is anything outside your home, your deck, your swimming pool, your sidewalks, your driveway. All that is separate structure or other structure. Personal property. Personal property is anything that is in your house that is personal to you. If you took off the roof of your home and you dumped it upside down, everything that falls out is personal property. The first thing I'm going to tell you all to do, and you should tell all your friends to do this, video record every room in your house for your personal property. Because I can tell you right now, we do not know everything that we have in our house and everything that's in that room. Videotape every room, label them, keep them, save them. If you ever had a total loss, you would be able to bring that up. It'd be a huge, huge thing for you. Okay. Loss of use, the next one. You did have a big claim. We had to move you out of your home for us to fix it. This is there for you to be able to be in a comparable place to be able to stay while we were replacing you're fixing your home at that point in time. So those coverages are all for you. The first coverages. The next coverages, 2 coverages are for others, which is personal liability, which is a huge thing. Anybody gets hurt on your property, they try to sue you. How's that work? That's what liability insurance is. Personal liability insurance. Anybody gets hurt on your property. You'd like to have that as high as you can, just to tell you the truth. You have it at a low number, the insurance companies might say, hey, we'll write you this low check and you can have it, not even fight for you in that situation. If you have it at a higher number, the insurance company is going to be more willing to fight because they don't want to pay out that much money. So you want to keep that liability as high as you possibly can. And then medical payments is just kind of a small payment to somebody that may need an x-ray or need to run to the hospital real quick to kind of keep them from trying to sue us at that point in time. Other ones on the list here, water backup, which is a huge thing here in the state of Ohio, obviously. That's an additional coverage. We always add it to all our insurance. All our clients, we add that on. It's a huge thing, whether you're on the slab or in the basement. It's any water backup, that is. A newer coverage is sewer line coverage or service line coverage. You're responsible for everything from the street to your house. The city will come out and fix it for you, but then they're going to send you a bill. This will cover that for you. And then personal articles is anything that you have in your house that is worth more than $1,000 or $5,000. Those are usually the limits that you have for theft for your personal articles within your home. We're talking about engagement rings, wedding bands, fine art, family heirlooms, those type things are what we're talking about, personal articles. So those are the things, and those are the coverages that you should be looking for within your policy. As we move forward, let me go back here. Move here. I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit so you guys can see it a little better. So this is a little coverage here. Insurance is worldwide. If you want to read this here real quick, but protecting your home, you want to protect all your assets, from start to finish. We talked about vandalism. We talked about hail and theft, wind. Those are big things. The big thing with hail and wind nowadays is because they're having so many issues with that. Those deductibles are starting to be more than your normal deductible on your home. So you might have 2 different deductibles on your home. Make sure you look at your deductible on your current policy also. If it's a percentage, that's fine. If your home's worth, $200,000 and you got 1% deductible, so it's a $2,000 deductible. If you have a $750,000 house, you have a 1% deductible. Now you almost have an $8,000 deductible. So make sure you look at what your deductible is. Is it $1,500? Is it $2,000? Is it $1,000? Is it a percentage? Is it a 0.5%? Is it a whole percent? You want to make sure you know what those are. So we talked about reducing your liability. Make sure everything around your home is up to standard so you can reduce liability, tripping hazards, those things, that type of thing. That's what they're talking about, reducing your liability cost or your chance of liability. Other things that we like to look forward to is let me move forward here. Is additional additional coverages. There's all kinds of different coverages we can add to your policy. As far as we talked about protecting your identity, that's as low as $1 a month. If you see this right here, identity recovery, a lot of them are a lot cheaper, cheap on that. We talked about your fine arts. Those are additional. Equipment breakdown. This is one that you might want to do. Say you came in a house, you did your house and you bought all new appliances. Equipment breakdown will be something great for you. You put that on there. It's a couple bucks a month. You have that on there. If it goes down, there's a malfunction, they'll come out. You can file a claim. No, there's no deductible. They'll replace the product for you. Your heating system, your cooling system, that's all included within that. So you'd like to put those coverages on there if you're able to. And it's all going to base it on the price, obviously. So those are some of the things we can do. We also talked about insurance. Together you get that 15% deductible here with. I think this was with Safeco. Some of them give you 15, some give you 17, some of them give you 20 with that bundling. So make sure you do bundle those coverages. So that would be a great thing for you. As we move forward, once again, this is our label. I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now so we can get back to everyone else. And let's see if we have any questions out there. Is there anything I can answer for you?
All right. If you do have any questions, if you can post them there in the chat. Al, we had, as you know, some pretty significant insurance issues here earlier this year. Over the last 2 years, my son had a fire while he was at college, which was multiple states away, no fault of his own, but he didn't have renter's insurance. And so we opened up a claim because he lost everything. Excuse me. So I think that was around probably $15,000. It was books, clothes, TV, computer, bed. I mean, just all the things that he had in his apartment. Unfortunately, a year later, then we had a barn fire at our place. Again, it was determined no fault of our own, but another big claim. And after that, our insurance company that we've been with since probably 1995 let us know that they were not going to be renewing our service. So we ended up having to get covered by the Ohio Fair Plan, which is much more expensive than it was through our previous provider. So the questions I have, if we would have done renter's insurance for my son, would that have still applied a claim to us, even though it wouldn't be for the same company? And the other question then is, how long will it be that we have to stay under the Ohio Fair Plan before we can start looking for more reasonable insurance?
Great question, Kent. I know, excuse me, I know you've gone through a lot. Sorry, for that. The renter's insurance is huge. You definitely should have that. Yeah, that would have been a claim probably with a different company unless it ran through your company itself, even though it was even though it's not your fault, it's still on your record. But they call them not at fault are weighed less than at fault. So if it is your fault, it's weighed more. If it's not your fault, it's weighed less, but it's still weighed. So you can have more not at faults than at faults and still keep your insurance, if that makes any sense. So let's say so most companies, if you have 2 at fault home claims, 9 times out of 10, they're going to drop you within a year or 2. If you have 2 claims within a year, they're usually going to drop you at that point in time. Not at faults, you get 2 or 3, maybe 4 out of that. Not your case. They'll still keep you on. Obviously, you're still going to raise your rate, but you'll still have access to insurance. What Ken is talking about with Ohio Fair Plan, there's nothing fair about Ohio Fair Plan, and it's not it's not cheap at all. It's something that will right somebody who cannot find insurance somewhere else, which he was in that particular case because he had 2 big claims within a year, so nobody else would write them. Those claims also carry around with you for 5 years. Some companies 3 years. So that's where the independent part comes in at. That we have access, like some companies go back 3 years, some companies go back 5 years. So we can maybe find you one in 3 years that we can then rewrite you and put you in something better. But auto, same thing. Like Progressive and auto they go back 5 years. Other companies only go back 3 years with auto. So those things kind of change on what's going on there as far as claims. So I think, what has it been, 2 years for the fire at the house? Is that right, Ken?
Yes.
2 years.
It was
So
2 years ago in July.
So I'm thinking next year, July, we should be able to find something for you, because we'll be at that 3-year point at that point in time. And if we can search now and see if we can find something for you, that'd be easy for us to do too. But that would be something like, you have to know that your claims. So you always need to know whether it's worth you filing the claim. Before you file the claim, make sure you call your agent. That's got to be the first thing that you do, to make sure that they tell you the best way to go about this. Because once you hit the claim button, that claim is there. It can't be removed. So make sure you have all your ducks in a row, because we want to make sure that we have quotes, estimates, things that it's going to cost. Because if you have a higher deductible, I have some clients that have a $5,000 deductible. If you have a $5,000 deductible and we have a claim that's $4,500, we're not filing the claim. Or even if it's $6,000, because it's going to cost you more in the end to file that claim than it will to pay it out of pocket. That's the best way for me to put it. So the easiest way to kind of bring down the price, if you're able to do it, is to raise your deductible. And that's kind of what people are starting to do, because what insurance companies are doing, when we talked about the 1% and the 0.5% on the wind and hail deductible, they're starting to put more on us. So more on the client itself, and you having more skin in the game just than, $500, and they're going to give you 50,000. It's kind of where it's going. So great question. That answer your question for you, Kent?
It did. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions out there?
I'm not seeing any more in the chat, but if you are a participant and you would like to ask a question, either type it or unmute yourself and go ahead and ask Al right away. Brian, does I see your hand?
Yeah, mine is a specific one, but it is like a fresh question that I hadn't gotten to pose. So I don't know how universal this problem would be, but I'm curious about the answer. So I had home and auto through Safeco, and because of a home claim got dropped, and now have I'm with Progressive now. I had a fender bender auto accident, rear-ended a vehicle in stop and go traffic, and about 2 years ago with my old insurance company. And I got a letter maybe 2-3 weeks back, a couple days before the 2-year cutoff point, that one of the other parties in the accident was now suing for, loss of enjoyment of life and some other things that you know what I mean? Because I broke their bumper. They've been really sad apparently and want $25,000. So my question is, my old insurance company is fighting that on my behalf because I was covered with them at the time. What I'm curious about when you talk about the insurance score, like a credit score, is at what point is Progressive, could that cause problems in terms of Progressive wanting to renew me, even though they already knew that accident was on my report when I became a Progressive customer? So does the fact that somebody is now taking action on a 2-year-old accident, will that impact my current dealings with Progressive?
It could. It probably wouldn't. Years ago, Brian, once you were with a company, they didn't run your record every year as long as you renewed with them. So that's kind of a big thing. So if you have claims with your current insurance company, to shop, which means to go out and search for another insurance company, those new insurance companies are now going to run records to see what your insurance score is, what's happened, how many claims you have, that type of thing. Your current company may not do that every year. They're starting to do it more often now because it's becoming more prevalent. But usually a lot of times they don't see it. And because Progressive's already rated it for you, Brian, it shouldn't be a problem. They already knew you've had it. So now it doesn't turn into an auto claim. Now it is a liability claim, something completely different than the accident itself. So, and it's still part of that. Now, the growth of the amount that comes out of that claim could affect you. Probably not, but it could. As long as you stay with Progressive, it's not going to go anywhere. It won't happen anywhere else at that point in time. Does that make sense?
It does. The continuity with Progressive would make it unlikely that they would feel the need to run like some fresh report in order to keep going. It's possible that they will. Ultimately, the outcome of how this gets resolved by my prior insurance company, what the settlement amount is, all that stuff, that will ultimately create a new record on my score. Even though the accident's old, it will be a new thing that maybe at some point Progressive pulls a report and goes, hey, what's this? And it changes something, but more likely it would impact if I went shopping again somewhere new.
Correct.
Like you were talking about with the time period with Kent, what is the time period? Would the time period be based on once the settlement is made, or is it the time since the accident? I guess if it's a liability claim, once that's new, then that's now like a 2024 thing, right? And the clock starts over again?
I would think not. It's still the same claim because it's still the same person. It's still the same accident. It's still the same situation. They just, you just have a window of how long you can take to file a liability claim, which, 2 years is kind of a long time. So I would think that wouldn't turn out to be much. I think Safeco would take care of that pretty quickly. Just to put it to you that way. But yeah, it should be that accident is that claim. Because,
got it. So even the ultimate
the other part is that
still gets assigned
did you already pay out the physical part of it for the bumper? Did they already pay that out?
No, I literally had never heard from these people at all. This was the first I'd heard from them, was like 2 days before the cutoff point. I wonder how much like that's just like an attorney marketing strategy. You know what I mean? Like, do they go pull reports, right, and go like, hey, you're about to run out of time. Didn't you want to sue this guy? They're like, okay. I don't know.
That's pretty much exactly what it is. That's pretty much exactly what it is, Brian. Well, so especially, was there a police report filed for it?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's all on record when it happened. So it's going to be for that 2-year date for sure.
Got it. So even in shopping, I'm not necessarily starting from 2024 looking forward. It's like if I shopped for new insurance again in another year, even with like a 3-year look back or something, potentially it would already be gone. So anyway.
Yeah, after 3 years, yeah. And then the only thing they would look back on is that you had a police report filed on that date 2 years ago.
Got it.
So
thank you for the time and the insight on that. Yeah. Thank you, Al.
Great question. Anyone else?
Al, I've got one more for you. So I was really shocked. We've, again, been with our insurance company since 1995. When we moved to the current location we're at, that was in 2005. So, coming up on 20 years with them, never had an issue. But the first thing that the insurance company or the insurance agent said the day after the fire, when he came out and looked, gets out of his car and goes, oof, you're not going to be able to rebuild this. And that kind of floored me. It's like, that's what we had insurance for. When we moved there, we brought our current insurance agent out. He walked through the property. We added a rider on, or whatever you call it, where they added the external building, because it was a good sized barn. It was about 40 foot by 50 foot. And, I just assumed that, that's what the agent was doing, was making sure, keeping up with the cost of, inflation and the increases, because I noticed that those went up through there. But his response to me was that building costs over the last 4 years have doubled. And, I was not aware. I knew everything went up, but again, I was under the assumption because they'd come out, they looked at the property, they knew what it was, that they would take care of that. Never has my insurance agent asked me to do something or recommended something that I didn't do. But in the end, it came down to I was responsible for knowing that I was properly or adequately insured, and that was just a shocker to me. So how would you recommend, all of us would protect ourselves from repeating that same scenario?
Great question. Most homeowner policies have additional coverage on them, that we add additional coverage on them. I need to plug my computer in. We add additional coverage on all of our properties, because usually you see additional coverage 25% of coverage A. So you make sure you have enough during those increases of inflation. In that particular case, though, Kent, because it was a separate structure, something totally different. It's not part of the house, different house. So you can raise your separate structure to whatever you need it to be. And then that should go up when everything else goes up, when the price goes up. So that's what I tell people all the time. You have to tell your agent what, let's say you went in, you built this building and it was a shell. And then you went in and you put all this stuff in it. Like you built shelving, you built, rooms out in it, you framed some of it out, you added all this stuff to this barn, but you didn't tell your insurance agent that you did that. So if we don't know that it's there or what's in there, then at that point in time, we don't know what to do or how much to raise that coverage to. So my response to that is, make sure you tell your agent and call your agent and reach out to them about every change that you make to your home and to your property, because it's going to change your coverage.
In this scenario, the barn was built when we moved in, and we really didn't do any changes to it.
Okay.
So
maybe
I think the biggest issue was that the initial agent, I believe he passed away, and so they switched us over to another agent that, with the same company, and moved all the policies under there.
Right. And we also send out an email every year when you come up for renewal. Has anything changed in your life? Has anything changed on your policy? Is there anything that we need to look at? Is there anything we need to add? That email comes out from us, generated there, before 60 days before your renewal comes out. So we try to, because we have more than one option, we make sure we make contact when your renewal comes out every year.
Right.
But
And
most
again, nothing would have
changed. Most captive agents don't do that because they don't have anything else to offer you anyway. So they're like, well, what am I going to tell you? What am I going to say to you? It is what it is. I don't have anything else for you anyway. But
since nothing had changed, I assume we were covered, and that wasn't the case. Now we added an addition on our house, and added a couple of bedrooms and things like that, and obviously that increased the value of the house. I called our agent, and they made the appropriate adjustments. But just the fact that building costs went up, or doubled over the last 4 years, that's not something that I would know to that extent. From my standpoint, I'm an IT guy, and I make sure all of our clients know exactly what the risks are for cyber attacks and various things. And if I see them, or if there's a set of steps that they can take to better protect themselves, I let them know. Correct. But so I want to make sure, because I'm the expert in that industry, I don't expect my clients to be, but it's almost like I felt like my agent was telling me I need to be the expert, knowing the building costs had doubled over the last 4 years, and that was, definitely outside of my wheelhouse. I knew all costs went up, but not to that extent. And I had just assumed that my insurance was going to follow what it would cost to rebuild, and that was not the case.
Yeah, that is, I've seen that a lot, unfortunately. Everybody is not great at their job. That's the best way to put it to you. It is. I mean, you have to realize there are so many insurance agents out here that, and then there's so many companies out here that just are pushing to sell. And the service part is getting left behind. It really is. And sometimes you have some guys that are so big, they can't even service their own book. They don't have enough help to service their own book. So, if something comes up, they service it. If not, they just leave it alone. So that's where you come in. That's where it comes in, to get to know your agent, understand who he is, trust him, talk with him, have conversations with him. You have to have that relationship because at the same time, that guy, if that agent at that point in time is like, he took over your book, so he didn't even know who you were, Kent. So he doesn't even know what's on your property at that point in time. If that guy didn't tell him, or the rest of the company didn't tell him, he wouldn't have known if he didn't just go through your entire policy. And I can tell you, if there's a book that's $10 or $12 million, they're not going through every policy when they take it over. unfortunately. But that means the client's going to pay for that, and that part of it sucks. I totally agree with you.
So would we annually just ask our, our agent, can we rebuild based on the coverage we have based on current building costs? Is that
like I said, when you get an email, mostly all companies email you out before your renewal. When you get that email before your renewal, if you have any questions, email them back for sure. Ask questions, respond to them, engage with them so they can look at it and they know who you are. That'll make it way better for you for sure. Instead of just assuming that they're going to figure it out. You know what that word assumption means. So just make sure you don't get caught in that mix for sure.
Fantastic.
Any other questions? I had a few other things I was going to say. Unless we have a couple more questions, we can go through that. But I know loss ratio is starting to decrease. So moving forward in 2025, maybe we'll get out of this hard market where, maybe we'll start stabilizing a little bit more instead of increasing. I've had clients increase 50, 80, 60% on their policies where we've had to move them elsewhere because, the increase has been so high. The other thing is technology. Technology is changing. Here at KLT Insurance, we are getting ready to launch our own app where you can then go into our app and do anything that you need to do by, getting your ID cards, adding the car, subtracting a vehicle, telling me that you built something new on your home, added, or you're putting on an addition, or I redid the kitchen and now we have an upgraded kitchen with granite countertops. We no longer have Formica countertops. That makes a difference. If I have you in as a builder's grade kitchen on your home, and then you totally redo your kitchen and we don't know about it, and all of a sudden you have a total loss and you had a custom kitchen put in, that's a huge difference in price. So you need to make sure you contact your agent all the time. And this technology will allow you to do that. You can text through it. You can talk through it. All those things where you can see your policies on it. If you need a deck page, you can go to your deck page, just grab your deck page and send it out. So technology is starting to help us out a lot to be able to service our clients more. And that's why we're going to the app within that realm also.
Excellent. Well, Al, I really appreciate your knowledge, your expertise, and the time for this. And let me share some stuff right now with everyone about.
One more second. One thing, if you want to, like I said, if you want to try to bring down your coverages, look into adding price to your deductible. It's about the only way to do it. And make sure you have the right coverages. Make sure you have everything that you need on your policy. And if there's extra stuff that you don't need on there, then get it off. That'll help you out. But make sure you stay in contact with your agent and reach out to an independent agent at all times.
All right. Fantastic. Well, again, this was hosted by Buckeye Business Builders, and I'm going to share right now our screen. So this is our website, and this contains all the information about upcoming events. We do meet the second and fourth Tuesday of the month. So if you come to the website, bbbng.org, and click on events, you'll see today we had this event, but the upcoming events are listed at the bottom. Our next event then is going to be, let's see, it'll actually be in September. Those need to be updated a little bit. But when you click on this, you'll see the details about it. We meet at the Northern Ohio Business Center, 5224 Cobblestone Road in Sheffield, Ohio. And we meet there from 11:30 to 12:30 p.m. And so we'd love to have you there. If you're not sure or have any questions, we have a contact us page where you can put your name, email address, and message there, and we'll get back with you as soon as possible. So thank you again for attending, Al. We appreciate the information. We will have a recording of this as well. So I'll send that out to everyone that registered so that they can revisit this and make notes of all the important information that was shared.
Thanks, Ken.
Wish everyone
if you guys have any other questions, you're more than welcome to call me at any time or email me. I'll be more willing to answer your question at any time.
Fantastic. All right, everyone, you guys have a great rest of your day. Take care.
Bye-bye.